Hey everybody, I wanted to take a second and talk to all of you, and this is one of the easier ways to do it, is to send you this little video. This is how I talk with most of my coordinators throughout the week. We have our meeting this way. That way when we're here on Sundays, we don't have to take as long and we can spend more time with our groups and with the individuals here at the church. But the reason I'm sending you this is because you are serving with us in guest services Christmas Eve. More specifically, though, you have been serving in guest services for a little while now. You consider guest services your home, your community. You have invested in that guest services team in some capacity. So that's why I want to share my excitement coming up to this Christmas Eve with you guys specifically. So you may have been told by one of your coordinators, but I wanted to share this with you. This is a list of the greeting team coming up for this Christmas Eve. Most of you have seen this list. It looks pretty full. This one, not all the names are on there yet. There's still a couple people I have to put on there. But if you were to see it, I don't know if you can see it through the camera, there's 4 names on here that have served in guest services before. The rest of these people, about 30 people total, are serving for the very first time here at Fountain Springs. They have decided they want to take their next step, and they want to serve with you guys. One, I just want to say thank you for what you do every single week, because you guys have consistently made these people feel welcome, loved, engaged. You have consistently shown them who Jesus is. You have consistently given them a reason to come back. You guys have made them feel so welcome and a part of their family that the first time they walked through these doors, their hearts were open to this idea that maybe there is a Jesus who maybe loves them. And since then, they have grown more and more, and they've been coming more and more, and now they've gotten to the point where they want to start giving back. They want to start investing, just like you guys have been. They want to be a part of that team and a part of that family. And I just, first of all, want to say thank you for being those people for them. I'm sure some of you will recognize these faces. You may have seen them every single week. You may have talked to them about serving. But they are now taking their next step, and they're going to be serving. So I want to say thank you, because you guys made this happen. You guys are the hands and feet that are out there showing people who Jesus is, and now they want to take their next step. And I'm so thankful for that. But moving into this Christmas Eve, there's a lot of big goals that Fountain Springs as a church has. You know, we have a goal that we want 5,000 people to walk through our doors, both east and west, throughout the services this coming weekend. That's a ton of people. That's twice the size of the town that I grew up in. So I look at it and I think, okay, that's 2 Millbanks coming to our church, getting to hear about Jesus, possibly for the first time ever. But there's something that I want us to have in mind, and this is why I really wanted to share this, because I want us as a team, as a family, to take ownership of this. There's a ton of people on this list who have never served with us before, and I want us to take ownership in making sure they know we want them to be a part of our team. That we're so thankful that they took their next step, that we're so thankful that they're taking part in this and they're investing in this. I want each and every one of them to know why it's so important we do what we do. Why parking, greeting, ushering, the next steps, Volunteer Central, why each and every one of those are so important, and why it's so important that they take their next step and they invest in one of those teams, that they get connected in one of those teams. So here's what I'm asking you guys to do. I have 3 requests, and I would love, again, for you guys to take part in this. This is what I'm going to be doing. This is what my wife, I told, is going to be doing. This is what our coordinators are going to be doing. This is what Next Steps as a whole is going to be doing. The first thing is I want you to introduce yourself to one of the new volunteers. Now, you guys will all see them. You'll recognize, like, hey, I've never served with that person. I'm going to go introduce myself. I'm going to thank them for serving with me. I'm going to cast the vision of this is why I do what I do. This is why it's so important. And this is why it's so important that we take part in it. That's the first thing. Introduce yourself and cast the vision of why it's so important that we show people who Jesus is. We want them to understand that. And that's not just something that comes from me. It comes from all of us. The second thing is I want you guys to have the big ask. What that means is I want you guys to ask each and every one of these people if they would be willing to join your team on a regular basis. And now I know that's kind of awkward. For a lot of us, it's like, well, I don't want to make them feel pushy, or I don't want to feel pushy. I don't want to make them feel guilty. I don't want to feel like I'm coercing them into something. But here's the thing. Each and every one of these people, I got on the phone and I called because I knew they were coming to these services. We have a list of all the people coming to all the services. I called them and I said, hey, you've been coming to Fountain Springs for a while. Would you be willing to serve on one of our teams? And each and every one of them said, yes, I would love to. To me, this is just proof that if we personally ask people to serve with us, they want to. They want to do it. It's weird because we say it from the stage all the time. We have videos all the time that show people serving and people love it. But there's this mentality of, you know what? I think that's great. Somebody in this room is going to hear that and is going to start serving. What they need is a personal ask. So the second thing is I want each and every one of you to ask them, hey, would you be willing to serve on our team? Will you do that? If they say no, that's okay. But we want to invite them to take their next step. And I want all of us to be doing that. That's something we can all take ownership in. It's real easy. Introduce yourself, cast the vision of why we do what we're doing, invite them to be a part of next steps. And then the third one I encourage you guys to do and I invite you to do is write them a thank you letter. So we have every single week, we send thank you letters to all the first-time guests. For baptism volunteers, if you have been a baptism volunteer, you get a thank you for volunteering. I would love if each and every one of us took one name or took one family and grabbed one of those cards and wrote them a quick little note and just said, hey, thanks for serving with us. Would love to see you again. Hopefully you're on our team again, but I just want to say thank you. We want them to understand that taking this next step is important. Because the truth of the matter is that each and every one of us have gotten to a point where we weren't just here at the church. We decided we wanted to invest. We want to make disciples. We want God to make a bigger disciple of me. I want to take this next step in my relationship with God and what exactly that means. Therefore, I'm going to start serving. That's why we have this department in our church. That's why we have a staff that's built around that whole thing, because it's so important that they take their next step in growing with God. God wants to make disciples. We want to help plant the seeds to make disciple makers. So I believe those three things are going to really help people understand, you know what? It is important that I'm doing this. I want to do this. I want to take that next step. And they have certainly helped me understand why it's so important. And they've made me feel like, man, they want me. They really want me to be a part of their family and a part of their community. Again, I hope you guys are excited as I am. Because this is it's truthfully a full weekend of guest services. There's about 30 names on here. But that's 30 people who have decided just for Christmas Eve right now, you know what? I want to do more. I want to take that next step. So now it's our job as this team and as this family to help them take their next step of investing in the church, of getting plugged in, getting connected, serving on a regular basis, and taking that next step, growing deeper in their faith. I thank you guys for being a part of that. I'm excited to see all of us just take ownership of this. I'm excited to see all of us see the impact that it has. I can tell you it was uncomfortable for me to make these calls because it reminded me of selling cars. But truthfully, I found out it was really easy, and people want to be a part of what's going on here. They want to be a part of what God is doing. So let's invite them to that. So again, thank you. Thank you guys for doing what you're doing, because these 30 stories, these 30 people who have had life change, who have come here and have been impacted, who have transformed their life and now their generations to come, you guys play a big part in that. But now you're going to play a big part of them taking their next step as well. And I'm excited to see that happen. I love you guys. I thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here. I can't wait to do this with you guys this weekend. I'm so excited to get to meet some of these people for the first time, get to have these conversations, but then just to continue to build our community and help people take their next step in becoming better disciples. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I cannot wait to see you this weekend.